Anthony Joshua is expected to beat Joseph Parker, but while he feels the same, Carl Froch has seen enough of the Kiwi to expect a tough test for the British heavyweight. Joshua vs Parker on Box Office. Sky Sports Box Office will show the heavyweight unification from Cardiff on Saturday, March 31st. This is a pressure fight for Joshua. Anyone he is involved in is, but this seems to carry even more than usual. He is defending his world titles again, there is another one on the line, and everybody expects him to win these sort of fights, and win them well. Joshua will always be the favorite, and I am not going to argue with that, but looking back on the way they both dealt with Carlos Takam, it tells me this is a real, proper test for Josh. Perhaps his toughest so far. Carl Froch, but the one thing that ups the ante is what Joseph Parker will bring to the table. Yes, he is a world champion in his own right, but he is unbeaten, and that adds even more spice. Anthony Joshua's promoter Ed Hearn says the fight against Joseph Parker is a dangerous one for both fighters. Anthony Joshua's promoter Ed Hearn says the fight against Joseph Parker is a dangerous one for both fighters. Parker, like Joshua, doesn't know how to lose, but Josh will know he has a live and dangerous opponent. Yes, the physical attributes like height and reach, and I am hearing he will probably go in around a stone heavier, but Parker will be tough. I remember when I met him in Las Vegas, when he was chatting to Tony Bellew, and I remember thinking I'd put him in with Bellew, but I wouldn't put Bellew in with Josh. But then when I saw him close up, his head and his shoulders are broad and strong. Like the rugby union players, New Zealand is famous for. This guy is a solid unit. Carl Froch was impressed with Joseph Parker's performance against Carlos Takam. Joshua will always be the favorite, and I am not going to argue with that, but looking back on the way they both dealt with Carlos Takam, it tells me this is a real, proper test for Josh. Perhaps his toughest so far. Parker dealt with him convincingly but didn't stop him, but Takam had a full camp, not a couple of weeks. You could argue that Parker's performance against him was on a par with Joshua. Sky Sports' Johnny Nelson says Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker's fight is great news for heavyweight boxing fans. Sky Sports' Johnny Nelson says Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker's fight is great news for heavyweight boxing fans. He uses that jab, he uses the angles, and he worked in bursts, and I think we will see that again. Look at his record, and you know he is going to be fit. His last 4 fights have gone the full 12 rounds, so he has that experience, and he will have no trouble if goes into the second half. Parker will come to win, and Joshua will need to be at his very best. He can't afford to switch off, and that is one thing I can't see happening. I have a feeling that someone like Parker is going to bring even more out of Josh. Anthony Joshua vs Joseph Parker. Tale of the tape. Watch the Anthony Joshua vs Joseph Parker World Heavyweight Title Unification fight from Principality Stadium, Cardiff, on March 31st, live and exclusive on Sky Sports Box Office.